Hello boys and girls. Welcome to Arts and Crafts at the Library. I'm Miss Susan and I'm glad you've joined me for making an Earth Day planter. It's biodegradable and hopefully you have all the materials at home. All you'll really need is a piece of newspaper, and just use one single piece because you don't want it so thick that it's hard to roll and maneuver. So you just need one sheet of newspaper and then some biodegradable string. This is jute string. You can also use 100% cotton string or cotton yarn. And then also you'll need some dirt. I've got a little cup of potting soil, and you'll need some seeds. We have a seed catalog right here at the library, and you can come in and choose between herbs and all kinds of vegetables. So come into the library and see what seeds we have before you make your little biodegradable planter. I've selected some butternut squash seeds. They kind of look like a miniature pumpkin seed because, you know, pumpkins are squash, but the butternut squash seeds are a little bit smaller. And I'm using just one little package. There are 4 seeds in here, and so that should be enough for my one single planter. Now here's what I'm going to do. I take my piece of newspaper and fold it back like it comes regularly and then into a square. And then I take that square and fold it into a skinny rectangle. And then I'll want to fold up one more little lip, and that's about 1.5 inches on the side, and I keep that folded over, and then I'm going to roll it into a tube and roll, keeping that lip folded because that's going to keep the dirt in. So now I have it rolled like that, and I'm going to take my piece of string. You might want to have cut your string ahead of time. And I'm cutting about probably 18 inches. And I'm going to lay it down flat and then put my rolled newspaper there on it, and then just wrap that string around to hold the rolled newspaper into a tight tube. And now I'm just going to tie a knot so that it doesn't come loose. And there I've got a tube, but of course I can see through it. So I know my dirt's going to fall through unless I take a pencil or maybe a popsicle stick or something, push it down in there to the very bottom and try to flatten out that little lip that we folded at the end. And once you flatten that out, you can push from either side, you can see that it closes up the hollow tube. So now I can put dirt down in there and it won't fall through. So I'm going to take my little cup of soil and pour it down into my tube, and I've got some newspaper underneath to hopefully catch most of the mess I'm making. And then I just kind of shake it down in there, and once I get it full, I'll be ready to plant my seeds. So now I'm going to take all 4 of those little pumpkin seeds, or squash rather, butternut squash. They really do look like a little pumpkin seed. And I'm going to put them down in there, and I might add a tiny bit more soil because they're supposed to be about 1/4 inch deep. So now they're planted. I'll need to be sure to water it. I don't want to water it so much that this just completely gets soggy all the time, but I want to water it a little bit every day, and then you can keep it in something like a coffee mug or a bowl, something to keep it upright. I'll put it in my kitchen window probably, and once they start sprouting like this one has, it's ready to go outside and plant in the ground or in a bigger pot. And you don't even have to remove this planter that we made. That will biodegrade. It'll disintegrate into the soil eventually. And of course the newspaper will hold moisture and help keep the roots moist while the plant is growing. So you can just put this right down into a little hole in the ground once it's ready and sprouting. All right, let me show you some books that you can check out about gardening. This one is called The Gardening Book by Jane Bull, and it says Make Your Own Garden with 50 Green Activities. This tells you all kinds of other fun craft gardening activities that you can do, and it gives you a lot of pointers on how to get a good garden growing. And here's one that's a fiction book, The Gardener by Sarah Stewart, and this little girl plants a garden up on the rooftop of her building, way up high on the top of a city building. And then this one is Yucky Worms by Vivian French. Of course, worms aren't really yucky. They help our garden grow. And so this little boy visits his grandmother and she teaches him the importance of the earthworms in the garden. I hope you'll come to the library for a great book, and maybe you'll get to even make a little planter at home. Thanks for joining me. Bye-bye.